So, all right, look, Acts chapter 118. So it says, now this man purchased a field with the reward of iniquity. So when you think of it like that, that's like being at a basketball tournament, right? And they say whoever makes this half court shot, $50,000 is going to be donated to a cancer hospital, children's cancer hospital, right? So that's the reward, right? And it said, so even though they're not the ones taking the money and paying it for themselves, but the deed that they did, the fact that they were the ones that scored the half court shot, they're the ones that pay for it, right? Because they're the ones that made the shot. And it's kind of like the same thing with Judas. Even though Judas didn't take the silver and pay it, with his own hands, but when it says the reward of iniquity, the reward of his sin, basically how he was paid to betray Jesus, right? That was his reward. So you betray Jesus and we will reward you with this 30 pieces of silver. So basically, either way it goes, the money was always his. And it says, verse 19, and it was known unto all the dwellers of Jerusalem, in so much as the field is called their day, proper tongue, Akildama, which is to say the field of blood. Now in Matthew 27, he brought it back to the temple and cast it down and departed and hung himself. So right here, it says that he bought it, right? Just like I just said. But then in this one, it says that he cast it down and departed and hung himself. The chief priest took the silver and said, it is not lawful to put the money back into the treasury because it is the price of blood. And they took counsel and bought the potter's field, which is the field of blood. So as you can see, that even though Judas didn't, how can I say it, physically use the money to buy the field with his own, he didn't walk there with his own 2 feet and say, here's the money to buy the field, but his deed, the reward of his iniquity, is what purchased that field, right? All right. So then it says, and even though he gave the money back, since they could not put the money back into the treasury. And that word treasury means the funds or revenue of or belonging to a government, corporation, or institution. So even though he gave the money back, they still considered the money to be his because they couldn't put it back into the treasury, right? Because it was bought with the price of blood. It was bought out of betrayal. They still consider the money to be his, that field of blood, which would have never been purchased, or at least not in that way, if Judas had not done what he did. So when it says in Acts 1:18 that he purchased it, what it was saying was that he purchased it with his deed. He purchased it through the fact that he betrayed Jesus. So even though he didn't physically bring the money to the potter to purchase the field, his own deed of betraying Jesus is what initiated the people who took counsel and bought the field to go and buy the field that's purchased in the field of blood. And I hope that made